how sad
Yeah.
that a 5 or 6-year-old
Yeah.
knew that her just instinct
Yeah.
of who to love
Yeah.
was somehow wrong.
Oh, yeah. I knew
That's
right away.
real. I mean, like, where does that conditioning come from so early?
Feel like the sky is falling down. Feel like they're trying to break me down. Trying to put me 6 feet in the ground. I just want to know what's going down.
All this suppression, suppression, suppression. Fall back. Gotta deal with aggression, aggression, aggression. Ease up. No more oppression, no pressure, no pressure. No haters prosper. No weapons, no weapons, no weapons. I got a question and a lesson for you clowns. If you ain't stacking up your blessings, what the is going down?
I just want to know what's going down.
We're on. Hello, this is Rebellious, and I'm Jen Esposito, and who the hell are you?
Kat Yezbak.
A little better, a little better, a little
Okay.
better.
I'll work
Look
on
how
it.
cute you look with your little thing and
Oh,
thing and the
oh,
thing.
thank you. Sometimes I farm on the side.
Yes. And ask for people that aren't watching. We forget this all the time.
Yes, I'm wearing a, how do you say, handkerchief around my neck.
Wow, look at that.
Mhm.
And that's the show.
Okay, well, that was good. We're wrapping it up.
Okay, so here at Rebellious, art, culture, human.
Yeah.
We discuss the conditioning
We do.
and how that affects us as human, how the culture affects us as humans, and the art that we see, and if we're artists. So we did one whole episode that focused on who I was, and if you are watching this, then you do see that we have tons of pictures of ourselves in these boxes.
Yes.
If you are just listening, you'll, if you even look at the photo of the show, you'll see us as children, as teenagers, and as adults in all these boxes because, you're placed in boxes at every stage of the game.
It's very
So what we did for the episode about me
Yep.
is you kind of pointed to a picture and said, tell me about who that person was.
Yes.
Right? And then we realized, well, maybe some people
Are
aren't watching
driving.
this.
And hopefully they pulled over immediately,
And they
Googled
were
the
like,
show,
wait a minute.
pulled it up.
Exactly.
I'm sure everyone did that.
I'm sure they did.
Yeah.
But let's be clear on
Yes,
this one.
yes.
So I want to get into, first of all, how you
Are.
no, I don't want to know how you
Okay.
are actually.
Okay.
I don't. Yeah,
I'm okay.
I'm not interested.
I'm okay, though. Thank you.
Not interested.
Sure.
Vagina. Drink.
Drink it up.
Okay. No, but really, I wanted to. You said something to me once that really, really, really stayed with me because we always talk about great pants, by the way.
Thank you.
Okay. Side note. Now go back to the.
I got them at Saturdays in New York. If you ever want to give me free pants.
Saturdays. Is that the place I told you about?
No, but I love that place
That's a good
too.
place.
No,
That's
but Saturdays is great.
That's a good.
It's a
pair
good
of pant.
pant.
Yeah.
And
that's a good
shout out
pant.
to the guy who was like, go one size bigger. And I did.
Always, always,
Always.
so good. Look at me. I'm always in. Okay.
When in
We'll-
doubt,
we'll
one
stop.
size bigger.
We'll
Yeah.
stop.
Okay.
You said something to me because we're always talking about conditioning,
Yes.
and this is the show.
Yes.
But you said something to me that really, really, really really stayed in my brain. I actually wrote a whole Substack about it. If you want to follow me there, it's Rebellious Life with Jen Esposito. You said more than the conditioning, because I always say, like, who would we have been
Mhm.
if we weren't conditioned as a
Yeah.
little girl to, be sweet, wear your
Dresses.
dress, and pull up your socks, and always and almost feel shame, and you hide your body, and given the easy bake oven,
Yeah.
and all those things. And I said, to be able to like unpeel that onion
Right.
as an adult is a lot. And you said you didn't even think we could.
Yeah, I really don't think, as much as we try and as many layers as we will peel back, it's sort of twofold. One, it's been ingrained in us, these conditions. So now we're a bit confused as to what is really us, right? And what's
Mhm.
the conditioning. And even if we we also just don't have enough time, because by the time we start realizing and waking up to the fact that we've been conditioned and start to peel back the layers, I just don't think there's enough time. And I think the damage, not to get totally morbid, but I think the damage has really been done.
Yeah.
And so now it's like, I don't think I'll ever know the me who could have been.
And that's the line that killed me, because you said really clearly, we will actually really, really legitimately never know.
No.
Never, ever, ever know who that person would have been. We can peel back as much as we want, but the damage was already done, and you will never be that pure spirit again.
The canvas won't ever be blank again.
That's right.
And
that's
everything
right.
that's been put upon you. And again, I think what's really tricky in life is deciphering, is this really me?
Yeah.
Or is this what I've been taught?
Yes.
And at a certain point, I think, unfortunately, and this is how it's designed, that what we've been taught becomes so deeply ingrained that we truly believe it is us, and we make choices from those positions by what we find attractive, by what we're interested in, by what we gravitate towards. And perhaps there are whole other worlds out there that we could be attracted to, interested in, gravitate towards. But we think it's this one type, this one thing, this one place, this one activity.
Or even like, it's everything. And all those things that I was just going to say, they'll all be separate episodes, because relationship and marriage and gender, all of that. But I really want to focus on you. And you've said very clearly that you're a gay woman.
It's true, yeah.
Oh my God. Just let me speak. Jeez.
Gay.
Goodness.
Homosexual.
Should we say the word so they can drink?
Vagina.
There you go. They drink.
Drink.
Thank
drink,
you.
drink,
Thank
drink,
you.
drink.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, so you knew at a very early age. So let me say, there's a picture in here of you where it's there in your little ballerina.
Oh, my ballerina.
So they were trying really hard
Yes.
to make you be a ballerina.
Well,
why are you not a ballerina, Kat?
I got to the point level.
What?
Not to brag. I was on point. I was like, this hurts.
I saw you throw a
and it's very
medicine ball the
uncomfortable.
other day. I can't imagine.
I asked you to not ever bring that up.
Well, you knew I would.
I said, don't ever say anyone.
I was like, what kind of insanity is
I'm
happening?
very
Pick up the ball and slam it down. And it was like,
Okay. I
What
used
the
to be
hell?
coordinated. I
Not
don't know what
anymore.
happened.
So
I used
tell
to
us
be an
about the
athlete
point.
and a
Tell us.
ballerina. No,
Because that really, there she is. Look at how
there
cute.
she's with her bun and her bangs.
She's with her bun and her bangs
She's
and her
looking
tights.
longingly into her.
And she's very
What you don't
excited.
see
Look
in
at there
this-
she is.
What you don't see in this photo are my two cousins, who we were in a little dance trio, and we did all of our dances together, and they were off to the side, and I got the spotlight in that photo.
Of course you
looking
did.
longingly into the slipper.
Wow.
I think they were jealous. I hope they're not so mad at me.
Let me ask, that little girl.
Well, that little girl, so like you spoke about in the last episode, you love to dance. So I did love to dance, and any form of dance. And I took dance over the course of my life, and I like movement. And I did like, doing ballet. Here's the thing. I always knew that I was gay from a very young age.
How young?
I have my I have two older brothers. They're 11 and 13 years older than me. And I remember being like 5 or 6, and they had girls over, to the house. And I thought, yeah, that's what I want.
Incredible.
So, and I knew that it was different, and I knew to not vocalize that.
Wow.
Or
you see, now where does that come
yeah,
from?
how
at
do you
5
know?
or 6?
And so I think that little girl, the little
Interesting.
ballerina, she loved being that way, and it would have been great if she didn't feel like she couldn't be both, I think.
And that is what's really interesting
Yeah.
to me, because why couldn't you be
Yeah.
a gay
Little-
ballerina?
Oh, so many gay ballerinas, I think.
Kat, you still can. It's never too late.
Are you
baby.
serious?
I think you still.
Well, I
think-
got a jet.
I think.
Got to get my tutu on.
Well, no, but okay. So you told me a funny story about the first time you really were like, no, I like her. Is the babysitter?
Oh yeah. So I used to have when I was a kid an older babysitter named Catherine Williams. Rest in peace. And I said to you also.
Did you kill her?
Well,
Okay. Next story.
it's debatable. She was much older, and I remember I got
She's
to
probably
this,
like 25.
she was probably 25, 30 max.
Because when you're that little,
Yeah,
you're
I'm
like,
like,
how
you're
old are you?
You're 32. So I had Catherine Williams for a while, and then I started thinking, and I was like, I don't know, 6, 7, 8.
I can't believe how young you were thinking this.
Oh yeah, and I went to my mom, and I said, Mom, I don't really want Catherine Williams to babysit me anymore. And I didn't give her a reason why. I just handed her a list of all of the girls I deemed hot at the local high school. And I was like, I think these 3 would be excellent candidates. You might want to check them out. And they did. They babysat me, and I got a few more in the rotation as time went on.
Wow.
And they would come over, and I'd get so excited, and I would get dressed up for them. And I
what would you put on?
I would put on whatever, I felt really, attractive in at the moment, and always finished it off with a pair of jelly shoes.
That deserves this. This right there. I mean, jelly shoes.
Jelly shoes. I wish I
Jelly
still had a
shoes.
pair.
I mean, maybe that's why,
And
gotta
you
get some
said
action.
your jelly shoes brings all the girls to the yard,
That's right.
which is true.
That's very true. That's
but
right.
I do remember that my mom used to get mad because when she found out that I had taken,
Trying to hit on the babysitters.
well, she didn't really. Well, she probably realized what was happening. She did. Oh, thank you, jelly shoe. Jelly shoe.
Was that the actual glass slipper?
Mine. I feel like mine didn't. Mine were more like of a coral color, and I don't know
Oh.
if they had a buckle,
well,
or because I might have been the jelly shoe before.
wow.
But I remember I would take the.
There it
Yes, that is exactly.
that
Thank
it?
you. Yeah.
Oh, it's so much more feminine.
Yeah, and
Look
I had a
at
few.
you.
I had a few other colors too.
How
yeah.
cute! There, if you can't, if you're not watching, we just pulled up a jelly shoe, and Kat
Two-
cried.
I'm
Do
crying.
you want me to get you those now?
Yes.
Okay,
Thank you.
I'll find them for you.
Thank you, Jen.
What size are you? 12.
I'm a 12 jelly shoe. I think they were on small, so 12 and a half.
Perfect.
But I used to take the girls up to my parents' bedroom.
What? This is getting racy.
To watch the Tracy Ullman show because I thought this is going to seal the deal. I'm going to get them laughing, and before they know it,
Wow.
the jelly shoe will come off.
It's so good. It's so good. I
Yes.
mean, it's so sweet. Okay, so let's go to, well, should we even say, like, did you come out to your parents early on? Or
No, I didn't tell my parent. I came out to. I don't think I came out to anyone until how old was I? Sophomore in college, I think.
Oh, wow.
And then I didn't come out to my parents until I was like 22, 23.
Wow.
Yeah.
And you see, this is part of the conditioning. How sad
Yeah.
that a 5 or 6-year-old
Yeah.
knew that her just instinct
Yeah.
of who to love
Yeah.
was somehow wrong.
Oh, yeah. I knew
That's
right away.
real. I mean, like, where does that conditioning come from so early?
And
I guess just what you see.
It's I mean, I never saw a gay person at all.
Of
And when I was
course.
like a teenager, it was Rosie O'Donnell pretending to have a crush on Tom Cruise. You know what I mean? Like these
Yeah.
things weren't adding up
Yeah.
and nobody could be out.
Yeah.
And then Ellen came out on her show and I was already in my like late teens. So
Mhm.
everything that I saw
Was saying
was
it was
the
wrong.
most heteronormative. Well, I feel like, first of all, sometimes you would see gay men, maybe, but they were always like the most flamboyant, sort of stereotype of a gay guy.
Mhm.
You never saw gay women.
Never.
You never saw gay women. And it wasn't so much that they were telling you it was wrong, is that they didn't exist.
They didn't exist.
And then I grew
Wow.
up in a very religious family
that's
and a very religious
whole other
household.
show. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
that's a lot. I grew up
So
in that.
yeah, and you do hear that sex in and of itself is wrong, and
Mhm.
so sex is for marriage between a man and a woman, and to have babies. So you kind of read between the lines that
You're going to hell?
you're gonna go to hell.
30-second dance pad.
Hell.
I do like sunny weather. Hell.
Woo! Let's give it up for hell. Woo!
Shout out to hell. Let's do it.
Okay.
Okay, that was nice.
All right. Giving it up for hell.
Always.
So that's
Hit the mic again.
already like that's so much to take to like you there's no being yourself.
No, there's no being yourself. And I used to try to like have thoughts of like being with a man, being with a man, being with a man. And
You've
it just,
never been with a man, never
I've
had a boyfriend.
never had a boyfriend. I mean, I've like, you know, I don't know, maybe made out with some guys. And I was like, all right,
Wow.
well, we're wrapping it up now. You don't have to go home, but you can't stay here. and you know, I guess if there is even still like a Kinsey scale, I don't know if that exists or that ages me, but I'm like far to the very gay side. And I've said this before, I do believe that what makes the most sense to me in life is a human being just falling for another human
I
being.
completely agree. We're going to do an
and
entire show about
not
that.
having to define yourself,
Gender.
your gender, your sexuality,
Yep.
whatever. I just happen to be very gay.
That
and
and
I
that's
very much
very
love women.
okay. And it again going back to the conditioning is quite sad and quite incredible that you never saw any representation.
Oh, and I'll tell you this, and I was writing about this in a Substack. The first lesbian movie I saw,
Mhm.
Ben Affleck got the girl.
There are no there
The
are
lesbian
none.
girl. She wasn't. She turned straight for Ben Affleck's dick.
This is how we party.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So
that's really
Yeah.
that's interesting. So
That
you thought
was-
if I ever do get a girl, don't bring her around Ben Affleck. That was the
yeah,
moral of that
was the
story.
moral of that story. And you know, yeah, I thought, well, good thing I don't know Ben, but if
Yeah.
I ever meet him, I'll keep my chicks away from him.
Keep your the
Yeah, that was the
yes.
takeaway.
That was the
The
takeaway.
takeaway also was I'm not going to like it out there.
Wow. Wow.
I'm not going to like it out there. And I also remember something very eye-opening to me is that like when Ellen did finally come out, and that was like, and Rosie was out, and all of the and although I respected them for the work they did, there were no, and this sounds very I don't know, vain, but it's also that you want to know that there's people out there, at least in the public eye, because then that means there's reflections of them in society, right?
Mm-hmm.
Those women I wasn't attracted to.
Yeah, I understand.
So I was like, oh no, like,
yeah. What do I do?
what am I going to do? Because they're gay and that's great. And I can have women as friends who are like that and not be alone in that. But like, who am I going to be with?
Right.
Because I never saw a gay woman
Right.
I was attracted to.
Right. Right. Wow. It's a whole other and you really think about when you really break it down, it's really about like who you love
Yeah.
and the fact that that's an issue on any front for any reason just goes to show how conditioned
Yeah.
society is because the rules keep people in line, and
Yeah.
in that line, they are able to sell you a certain way, and they are able to benefit off your
Yeah.
fears, off your hopes, off your trying to fit into the right box. It's just all okay. I'm going to go on to the next box
Oh,
because there's
please,
someone
yes.
on here. I mean, I don't
Wait, her?
look at.
Okay.
Okay, I'm looking. Let me tell you something. I'm going to tell you something, everyone. If you are not watching this, pull over, go downstairs,
Mhm.
plug in your computer because you get your
Yeah.
glasses.
The contrast is stark.
And really, I need to understand this hot piece of ass is like
Thank you,
like
Jen.
like you look like what is it, the ZZ Top girls? Do you remember this from way back? With like the blunt bangs, very blonde, and that boxy kind of blunt bang, harsh like line, and then you have a V-neck. You are hot to trot.
I mean, I so appreciate it. I'm thinking like, well, what? How am I now, basically?
Baby, listen, I'm talking about there's a
How am I now?
complete difference.
Okay,
Because
so-
here's what I'm gonna say.
Tell me.
This woman right here,
Yes.
she looks like she is dressing how for the male gaze.
Sure. Yes.
You
yes.
understand?
Yes.
Whereas
yes.
now you do not do that.
I don't
not
think
even
so.
Kinda.
Not even a little bit. No.
So I want to understand.
Okay, well, a
that.
couple of things. So I did always have this sense of, until I've gotten a bit older, I always was sort of rebelling against, I guess, this
Right.
idea that a gay woman had to look a certain way. Now I'm a
Right.
stereotype of myself. Unfortunately,
No,
I've drank the
you're
Kool-Aid.
who you are, and that's beautiful. But that's what I'm saying. Did you feel in your body then?
I did feel in my body, and I felt like why I hated the roles that gay women were supposed to play that felt like a very heteronormative pairing. And I
Yeah.
thought, what's gayer than two super feminine girls being together?
Mm-hmm.
So I am going to just be myself inside, because I also, it's so layered, but I also never felt like a woman necessarily.
And that's why I'm asking,
And
because
yet-
I know this.
Yeah.
So were you pretending there? Because like we've said it about
Yeah.
me, and I would say this about myself. I can pull a picture up of myself, like
Yeah.
we talked about in those days when everything was male centered, because that's what you knew,
Yeah.
and I had to put that
Yeah.
forward for my work, for my everything, and I could see myself like this, like
Yeah.
hotsy totsy, like.
Was I doing that for me, or was I
and
doing that for everyone else?
Exactly.
And I
so
think it's
what
a fine
about,
line,
Yeah.
because there is part of it, like, I did like that dress and that pose I'm doing. I was with my friends in St. Martin, and we were joking, like we were making
Yeah.
like a sultry picture by this restaurant that we did every year when we went there. So it's twofold, because I feel more in my body now than I ever have. And I certainly back then was trying to make other people feel comfortable
Wow.
with me.
Wow.
But at the same time, there's a piece of me that likes to be more feminine on the outside, even though on the inside, I don't feel very feminine at all.
You see, now explain that to me. Explain that to me. What do you mean you don't feel feminine on the inside? What does that even mean? Like, I can understand it, like, for me, and we talked about this privately. I don't know if we talked about it in my episode. I have been sexualized from the
Yeah.
time I was a young woman.
Yeah.
So at a certain point, maybe 10 years ago, I really started, well, even longer before that, on my off time,
Yeah.
I would I'd like wear sacks and
Yeah, yeah,
no makeup
totally.
and but now, and especially the last 10 years, especially, I'm lucky I have anything that fits. I mean,
That fits perfectly.
I just,
Yeah.
I don't want to be sexualized.
Yes.
So what?
I think I've often struggled with, and I feel like it's so nuanced, right? So it's hard to describe, which I talk to you about it a lot, and we have a lot of time together. But the short version is, I've always felt, I guess, more like a man, but then I had to look at that and say, well, what's actually my feeling? And what is having been conditioned to believe that everything I am and everything I want would be validated if I were a man. So
That's a very different thing.
so I do struggle with that. And I am only able to share that like masculine energy with people that I've been intimate with or I'm closer to in that way. Because there are these pieces of me that like I like to paint my nails, and I mean, I'm never wearing that dress again, and I don't like to wear
What?
makeup. But I have, as I've gotten older, I think been more comfortable feeling more masculine inside and also allowing myself to embrace the feminine parts of me.
And we talked about this, and we should do a whole podcast on this subject as well, because and I understand what you're saying, because to me, when you say feeling feminine inside, I don't really know what the difference is between you're just feeling like a human being.
Right.
But because you have been sexualized, and because we are very clear
Yeah.
that if you are a man, there is a different world that you're walking in.
Yes.
And then to get what you want as a female,
Yes.
you do start to take on masculine traits
Yeah.
of being assertive and then of course you're being told you're a bitch and you're difficult and you're everything
Right.
else.
Sure.
And then you have to walk the line back and be like, what, me? Am I difficult? No.
Right.
Like someone said to me again the other day, oh, you're angry. It's like, honestly, that's such a thing for a woman
Yeah,
to say
to
to
be
a woman,
yeah.
for you to stop speaking.
Right.
To you to shut
shut
up,
down the
stop
conver-
asking,
yeah.
shut down the conversation.
Stop being difficult.
Stop being
Just
stop
accept
asking,
the bare minimum.
expect the bare minimum. Don't. And it's like it's such a conditioned word for a woman. And if honestly, if you're not angry as a female at this point, you're
Are you
you're
alive?
sleeping.
Yeah.
Like, but beyond that, is I feel like I have had to lose some of the femininity
Sure.
because I have had to fight my way through an
Yeah.
industry,
Yeah.
fight my way through society. And I feel like when we were talking about this, that because I've seen you now in different parts of life that were hard or transitions, and when you feel safe,
Yeah. Yeah, that's interesting.
there is a real femininity
Yeah.
to you.
Yeah, the stuff that feels masculine inside that's mixed with feminine that I think, as you say, is just being human. It's because all people have masculine and feminine within us,
Exactly.
and we try to have these binaries, and everything is the gray area, right?
Mhm.
So to get to share that with someone intimately, you get to explore all those parts of yourself, right? But then, yeah, like you said, when I'm in a place where I feel safe, I can take down that front a little bit,
Yes.
and I can let just all of
Be.
who I am
Exactly.
exist.
And that's what makes me so sad that
Yeah.
you've had to to say oh, I feel like, it's been a masculine or inside, and we've talked about this, is I feel it's because like again, you don't feel safe, and why would you?
Yeah.
But the
Well,
same
and
with
again,
me.
it goes. Yes, and again,
I have a total masculine. I have a very, very big masculine ness with me that I know I do, and I don't mind it, and I like it. But yet I do feel when I have to keep pushing through. I saw this amazing. It really one day doom scrolling, and I saw this woman crying to the camera in her car, and she was just so done. And she was like, just like her hair a mess, and she was like, yeah, I am masculine now
Yeah.
because I've had to do fucking everything.
Yeah, everything.
And I can't exist without being in this
Yeah.
state of like, go, go, go. And it was really sad, and it really made me think like,
But that is also interesting because masculine, when associated with men, is deemed as a positive quality.
I know.
Masculine, when
It's
associated
horrendous.
with women, is deemed as a negative
It's
quality.
horrendous.
And
It's
I
horrendous.
understand that you're tired of the fight. And you, as your friend, I think you seamlessly move through masculine and feminine because I get to see you when you're not fighting too. And I think the same would go for you, is that when
Mhm.
you're safe, the feminine can come out more.
100%.
But they force you to show up in a certain way. And then also, I've gone out with you when you're dressed in a different way, and the amount of attention, unwanted and interrupted, and I've gone out with you when you're not even dressed that way, and the amount of attention and unwanted, it's like, no, I'm going to shut this down at the pass.
Yes.
So it's a mix, because part of it is just, again, we all have both of these worlds inside of us, and why can't women explore all of them?
Yeah.
And
Yeah, I
why
agree.
is masculinity bad when it's associated with women?
It's I don't think it is. I love a masculine trait with women.
Yeah.
It's why I've never had a ton of girlfriends, because I'm
say
not
something?
comfortable in the girly girl space.
Yeah.
Of like I'm just not. I'm not.
Yeah.
Like I'm just not. I'm
No.
just. It's too. I don't want to talk about your makeup routine or
No.
anything. Like I'm just not
No.
interested. I've never been like, let's talk about the boyfriends. And like I did, or like, what dress do you wear? Like I just, yeah, I've never been that.
Never been. And we've talked about this before. So even the term, the fact that, Naomi's telling us something.
Naomi.
What is it?
One day you'll meet Naomi. Is she real?
What? Maybe.
Is she not?
Even,
30, we're at
she's
30.
trying to
Producer
talk to us
Naomi.
from the
30. It's
deep
time for
blue
tequila.
production room.
What were you gonna say?
But so I've always thought of this, and I know you, and I've said this to you a million times. Even the fact that in society, because I think gay women are taken very unseriously, because women are taken unseriously, and so then two women
100%,
together
100%.
without the need for a man are taken unseriously. The fact that we don't have a term for women who date women that's not girlfriend, when girlfriend is used for female friends.
Wow, right.
And the fact that we have a term, when somebody is a man and he says, I'm going to meet my boyfriend, you don't think it's just his friend.
right.
But women refer
Right.
to their straight or gay or whatever female friends
So let's start
as their girlfriend.
Let's start the
So,
friggin' word right
Let's
friggin' now.
start it right
and we're gonna
now.
put it on a T-shirt. Seriously.
Unless you're
I
going
hear you.
down on her, she ain't your girlfriend.
Vagina. Drink.
Vagina.
What? No, wait. I want
What's
that
the
word.
I don't know, because
Write us.
people write
we
us.
wanna
Tell
know
us
what
what
that
the word
is. We want to know
Because we
what that
can't
word is
get people
for,
to stop
for,
saying-
for two women that are dating, and if they say this is my girlfriend, they think, oh, they're friends.
So many times you can
Wow.
slide by with that, because unfortunately straight culture, like they do a lot of
It
times,
deems
have
over
commandeered the
everything.
word
Yeah.
to mean female friends. And I think it also is to lessen the impact
Yeah.
of two women who actually are dating in a couple
Right.
and in a
Right.
relationship with one another.
Yeah, I can understand that. So if I were to ask you, who are you today?
Oh my, who am I today? That's a great question. I think I'm more myself than I've ever been. And I think I'm more content with myself.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm less trying to shapeshift. And by less, I'm just not trying at all, I guess. For very many years, I felt really, I think I said this before, split down the middle.
Mm-hmm.
And I tried to make people feel uncomfortable here. And comfortable here and comfortable there, all the while making myself very uncomfortable. And now I show up wholly as me. And I'm not going to change to make you feel better.
How does that come out in your art? And please, because she won't say it, but I will.
Hello.
Kat,
Yes,
stand up,
I do that.
musician.
Awesome. Mhm.
Like nobody knows this.
No.
I didn't even know it. We talk 24/7, and I literally found those. I was like, "What the? What else are you? What else are you doing on the side?"
I like to make art on the side.
So musician, and
I do stand up. I write. I love writing stand up in the form of sort of storytelling, and I
Mhm.
love performing that. I wanted to be an actor. I wanted to be like in plays. I wanted to
theater.
do theater. Like I was a nerd. I wanted to do like Chekhov, and I wanted to play Medea one day.
Yes,
You know?
why can't you?
I don't know.
You're
If
gonna
anybody's
be,
looking.
You are going to be Medea, the ballerina Medea.
Oh, ballerina
Come
gay Medea.
on.
Ballerina,
a ballerina
gay
gay
Medea.
Medea. We need that story.
Bam, are you out there?
That's right.
So basically, yeah, I wanted to be in plays. And I got in my way in every way. And I don't want to
What?
blame.
Cat Yezbak got in her own way? What? I don't believe it. Cat got in her own way? I don't.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's crazy.
I was like, let's come to New York and be in plays. And then I was like, or just hate yourself and like
That
date
sounds like a better plan.
and just like date a lot of chicks and, get in your own way, mess up your whole life. But and I don't
vagina,
drink it up. And I don't want to blame anyone for that. And I only have myself to look at for why I made those choices. But it was very hard not being accepted by my family.
Oh, so you weren't accepted by your family?
No, and my family growing up were really wonderful. We were all very tight. My father's family is Syrian and Lebanese. His mother his family is Syrian, and my jiddu was born on the boat from Lebanon to the United States.
Wow.
And my mother's family is Irish Catholic, and they met.
Wow.
So I was raised I went to the Maronite church, I went to the
Wow.
Roman Catholic church.
That's a lot.
Very religious, very, very Christian, and
So you were just a no.
I was just a no, tight-knit, really big family, tons of cousins, lots of love, and I was afraid to tell them this thing. And I did, and I was afraid for a reason. And it's taken us, I would say, about 20 years to really get to a good place. And
That never goes away, though.
it never goes away. And
I'm sorry about that.
Thank you, Jen.
No, that sucks.
It
And
sucks.
you know what? And I want to just point something out, and I say this to every woman that comes through my classes. Every time they're ready to say something, a truth that was a trauma or a hurt,
Yeah.
they first have to almost apologize and say, but they were good people. Both can be true.
Yes, two things can be true. at
Two
once.
things can be true. Like, you know
They
what?
did the best they
did the
could.
best they can, but they really hurt me. Because I don't think until we own that, and we talk about this with family stuff because I have my own, until you really can say they did their best, but you know what? It wasn't really good enough because it left incredible damage, and it's still okay.
Yeah.
Because you don't need to apologize for someone's behavior of not accepting their own daughter.
Because I think I always worried, how successful can I be without it being an embarrassment?
That just makes me sad.
It is a real drag when I look back on it. And also things that didn't, have to do with them. And I made poor choices, and I didn't love myself enough, nor did I know really what it took to do the thing I loved, because it is such a, who goes to see plays unless some famous person is playing 23 parts now.
Yes.
So it really, I didn't know what it was going to take. And yeah, I didn't show up for myself enough.
But you are now.
But I am now.
In big ways.
In big ways.
We're writing some stuff together.
We are writing some
and
stuff
there's
together.
never, listen, like I said, let Fresh Kills, and that's why I have a lot of students come my way, let Fresh Kills be the guiding light for anybody that thinks that, oh, I can't do that now. There's no way I was supposed to do what I did.
You did.
I say the difference between me doing it and you doing it is I just did it. That's it. I did it.
You
That's
did it, and
you just don't stop.
You show up for yourself and you commit to yourself, and this is something that we've talked about a lot. I'm done living one foot in the life I want and one foot in the life I don't.
Absolutely.
And that's for everything across the board.
Absolutely.
And I do think that all of the things have led me here. I think I needed to learn what I needed to learn. I also don't think I would have been able to maybe grow into who I am if things had worked out
that's right.
the way I had wanted them to at the time.
Right.
And I'm happy to be here. And
we're happy to have you.
Oh my
We're
word.
like a rom-com with a happy ending.
Yeah.
Yay! Oh, so happy. Everything's nice. you'll start going back to church now.
I'm going to church on Sunday. On Sunday.
And I'll come with you.
Is it still on Sundays?
I think it is. Are you going to say, hey, everyone, Kat's back?
She's back. She's back.
Well, thank you, everyone. We will see you and hear you